Good afternoon, everyone. Today I wanted to share with you a couple of saws from the 70s power saws, which I was cutting earlier, and I thought, it'd be a great time to show people just how ferocious and how amazing some of the saws, which are now about 45 years old. So one of my favourite makes of saw. This is the West German saw, Solo. Hans and Heinz Emmerich started Solo, late 40s, and these are just absolute powerhouses. So this model is the 660 VA. Had a real run as well, these from I think the mid-70s to the mid-80s, and very torquey engine. So it's 81 cc's, it's running a 52mm piston, thumper of a piston, 38mm stroke, and I think the claim is 7 horsepower, which I don't know how realistic that number is. So like everything, I can only go by empirical value when you actually have something this old, which is to pick it up, put it onto the wood, compare it with something else, and you think, okay, that's how that really performs. So in comparison to this, then I have, I guess my closest source to this would be my West German again, would be my Dolmar, Sachs Dolmar 133 Super, which makes, okay, so this started in 76, and I think the 133 started in 79, and that's running a 52mm piston with a 40mm stroke. So that's 85 cc's, and in fact exactly the same footprint in terms of displacement and bore would be my 285 CD as well, the Husky. Okay, so again a 1977 saw. So 77, 79. So the 285 CD from Husqvarna, so that's a 52mm piston and a 40mm stroke. And there's some really interesting designs which when you look at them, so when you look at the shape of the Dolmar, you'll see they've kind of stepped away from perhaps their 60s style, and the bodies have kind of seemed to have stretched this way. They seem less bulbous on top, have the addition of a chain brake, etc. Gorgeous engines, beautiful engines. And the same with the Huskies. When you look at some of the early Huskies like the 65, and then when they started to get to the later models, they still had the same basic shape through the 63, the 182, 83, 84, 80, the 263, and then a subtle change then as they started to go to the longer shape, and then you'll notice the crossovers when they got to the 61s, and they became all really much more modern. But unusually on some of the Solo saws, so this is its older brother, this is a 60126, and the similarities between their shapes, this bulbous nature is really, so you can look at generations of Solo chainsaws and you can see how they've just incrementally stepped up. But where some of the other West German saws have, I mean, they're gorgeous saws. Those saws I'm mentioning are all gorgeous, and you could actually mention in the same field, I guess, the Stihl 045, although it's out-muscled with these other saws. My 045 can't compete with this saw or with the 285 or 133. Still a gorgeous engine. That's a 75cc mid-70s saw, and its slightly bigger brother, the 048 76cc forestry saw from 1980. But again, they're out-muscled in this company. But what's interesting is Solo carried forward some amazing design implements, which were the side of this, if you're kind of thinking back to any of the old saws, very, very similar to a Stihl 08. Outboard oiler, so the oiler is driven from the outside of the clutch housing and sprocket, and it's a very clever design, and on top it's fully adjustable, which is a really, really nice feature, and you can get to it nice and easily. If you're taking off the side cover, the bar mounts and the rear support mount are the same 13mm sized head. So you think, oh, that's great, whereas on the Steel, for instance, if you're looking for a different spanner for the back than to the front, no adjustable chain wheel are accessible on the outside. Some other great features on the Solo saws, they're really ahead of their game. Even on the 60126 back in the 60s, mid-60s, was the fuel tank. So, composite fuel tank, and it meant that you could see your fuel level, so you knew if you're getting low on fuel, which I think is a great feature, you know, particularly when you think all the newer saws now kind of have that as standard. A very clever AV mounting system, and the handles were double AV mounted at the front and double at the back, and it took away the need, so something like on the Steel 08, the handle comes through to the side cover, and then you'll see countless side covers broken where the handle has taken a knock and broken the side handle. So that's another real plus of that design. Electronic ignition, knock points, and an incredibly robust engine. Absolute powerhouse. So I thought, you know, I'll take the chance and time to show you, if you watched any of the vids the other day, I cut a little bit of Larch 14-inch using, I think, a Rancher 61 and a Homelite 340. I may have shown a 65 on roughly this size timber. I'll show you what a German power saw performs like, and they're shockingly fast. Absolutely shockingly fast. They're such an amazingly satisfying saw to run. Let's make sure we're in shot, guys. So let me go back a bit there so you can see how this annihilates the wood. So, spectacular compression. Kill switch, throttle lock, bit of choke. Hey guys. So, well, they're so effortlessly fast. There's just, after you've run something like a Husky 61, they're still beautiful saws, the Ranchers, they're gorgeous, the 61 engine. Even my Husqvarna 65, they're beautiful. The 65s are a gorgeous running engine. In terms of raw power, it's a hard matchup between the Dolmar 133, my Husky 285, and the 660s. It's a close affair. I would think the design features with the fuel tank, the outboard oiler, I prefer this over the 285 considerably. I'm close with the 133, but raw performance, I think this edges my 285, and the 133, they're incredibly similar. So guys, I hope that's interesting. That's one of my West German powerhouses. This is the 660 VA 1970s power saw, and I'm going to show the 601